This is the continual evolution of the East Coast beat. That is a truck passing by. um, I was watching somebody. It's interesting. It's like the guy that I was watching was in a band that I had bought like one or two CDs like 30, 40 years ago. Not 40 years ago, 30, 30, 20, 30 years ago. And I didn't know that until, and I had been watching a couple of his videos, and then he mentioned that, and I was like, oh, okay. You know, and he filmed from his backyard most of the time, or not most of the time, but yeah, occasionally we get to view his backyard, and I don't live too far from him, 40 miles probably, and he had grass in his backyard because it has just rained for the last. We just had a couple days of rain on and off for like not a couple of weeks, but like over a span of a couple of weeks, it rained a couple of times. And in this part of Southern California, that's normally enough to make fields that are usually very brown or sand, or brush. The grass, the local grass will sprout, and sometimes these blades of grass get to be like, I don't know, maybe a foot tall, you know, and but that's just how Southern California is. It doesn't take a lot of water to make the foothills look green, and I used to climb them as a kid, and it's a lot of dry brush, very few trees. We do have a creek that runs from one of the local lakes up in the mountains about 30 miles away that comes down through the city. And it's called City Creek, or it's called Plunge Creek, but then when it hits the city, I think they call it City Creek. But uh, they built a power plant. There was part of this area where it came into the township of Highland back then. It wasn't even a city, it was a township. So it came into the area through the mountains, and at one spot, there was a natural rock occurrence, and and people had dug out like a small pool, and some certain people would go up there, and they would, take their babies up there during nice days and let the kids swim in the water, and they'd cook food because there was like a natural hearth in the rock where it, it was just like I said, it was just a very cool place. So over the years, people had dug out in the creek, so you could go swim. Little kids, you didn't want to dive in that water as an adult, or you'd be, El Loco Coco, blowing bubbles through your nose, because it wasn't really deep enough for adults to dive in. I don't remember it being deep enough, and I didn't, and I've done dumb things, but sometimes I'll say no, and okay, like I know certain things. I have faith in certain things. I have faith that mercury is a poison, and it's toxic. So I don't touch it. I don't drink it. I don't play with it. You know what I'm saying? But I have faith that it is toxic. So that faith alone will keep me from taking it. I don't carry a knife. I don't carry a gun because the old phrase, men detest weapons of violence. Why would I carry a weapon of violence on me if I don't intend on doing violence? So then it just creates fear, intimidation among the other men, you know what I'm saying? So I don't carry weapons of war. I don't carry guns, knives, billy clubs, because of the fact that I have faith that I probably will never really need one. And if I ever do, I don't know. I mean, I don't really, am I going to shoot five guys? I mean, I don't know. I see some, I just don't carry a weapon on me. Like I said, I feel no need. I'm not going to shoot some charging pit bull. I'm not going to shoot 3 15-year-olds trying to rob me from my disability check. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to try to just figure out a better way than that level of violence. I learned, I have faith in that. Nonviolence is a thing to me. When I was younger, I was capable of more extreme physical things, played football, wrestled, was in the army. I've trained MMA, so it's not like I was a complete. I had no skill, but most of the time I was just drinking coffee, smoking, on the patio, Starbucks patio, while I was in school, and um, dreaming of better days. You know what I'm saying? So, but I had faith in certain things. Like I had faith that this is the thing, each individual has their own faith. So if I have faith that something is toxic to me, I don't take it and I live. If I have faith that something is beneficial to me, I take it and I live. Now, we're different. People are all different, and the things that give me gray and silver hair, to some might, seem, oh, that's, a lot of hard living or, stress or, they don't know from the outside, not how I look at it. I mean, life ain't easy, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But what can I say? So, is there a certain thing as reality? Well, if you have faith in something and that faith gets you through, then you live the life of faith. If you want to call that wisdom, if you go your whole life following, a certain path of knowledge that you believe is beneficial to you, then that is faith. You know what I'm saying? I don't do this because I don't even have to do it once. You know what I'm saying? I'm fine not knowing, because what I've come to understand about life tells me that this is positive to me. And these are all different to different people. Some people own pets, some people collect cars, some people ride horses, some people, um, you know, barbecue wild boar in Texas. You know what I'm saying? But these are the whole thing. So if you have a certain faith in something and that faith gets you through, then that is, in reality, your truth. The person next to you will have his own reality and his own truth. So in this world of, 7 8 billion people, we have 7 8 billion lives. And some of us are sharing moments with each other, conversations with each other, apple pie and ice cream. We're sharing these things with each other. But yet, at some point during our 24 hours of the day, we turn our, as the Tao Te Ching says, we turn our back on the feminine. We turn our back on all that we've cultivated in the day so that we can fall asleep and then enter our own world. You know what I'm saying? Enter where, anyway. So how much faith does it take? Well, as it said, a mustard seed, enough to flavor the world. Enough. A mustard seed is a very powerful thing. And it's enough. Okay. When I was in the army one time we had to go out on this march. and they were telling us it was supposed to be they were telling us it was supposed to be 12 miles. And 12-mile road march, with weight on your back and a pair of combat boots, I knew it was going to be a long day, you know. And I was in the 4th platoon of the 3rd company, and oh my God. And this line had to go on for, I don't know, 150 people, you know what I'm saying? And it kept slingshotting, which meant that we would have to run, to catch up, and then it would stop, and then we'd all collect again, and then we'd have to run to catch up, and then we'd have to run to catch up, and then we weren't marching, we were sprinting, and then basically half stepping, you know what I'm saying? And so I thought, oh, this is going to be a very long day. So at one point, I just yell up to the front, hey, just keep pace. Like, at this point, we don't care how fast, how slow, whatever the Army pace is, let's just keep pace. Let's get this, we got 12 miles of this to go. And we're sitting here. I mean, I just spent the last, whatever, sprinting and standing, and, walking like a zombie, It's like, but that's how, but it was the faith that I wanted to be a soldier that gave me the strength to step left, 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 that gave me the strength to wake up before the sun would rise, and laying on my back in between sit-ups, I remember I would look up at the star and think, man, if I ever make it, I'm gonna wake up this early every day, and I'm gonna sit on my porch, and I'm gonna drink coffee and smoke, and I'm gonna think somewhere out there there's an 18-year-old that's doing the best he damn can, you know what I'm saying? And he's hoping to see the world and maybe fall in love, and if he has to, survive a war, you know what I'm saying? That's what I was thinking when I was 18 years old, doing sit-ups in the sawdust, you know what I'm saying? So that was faith, and it was the same faith that, when they said, don't eat ice cream, that we're, as trainees, we were not allowed to eat ice cream because that was for the graduating class, I didn't even, no hesitation, no ice cream. When we graduate, if I want ice cream, I get ice cream. And no, like they also told us, I don't think we could eat any sugar, like no cookies, no nothing. I think the only sugar that you could really have was for your coffee, and I remember one drill sergeant was saying that's particularly for the older soldiers, you know what I'm saying? But we would at one point we would run, I don't know how far, less than a mile, you know what I'm saying? Definitely less than a mile. But we would run like half a mile, you know what I'm saying? We would run half a mile to the dining facility to eat breakfast, and then we would have to run half a mile back after eating a full meal in one song. What kept me going? Why didn't I just cramp up, or why didn't, too much potassium, too much magnesium? It was faith, and even as I didn't consider myself a Buddhist, but I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna be a soldier in the army, and I'm going to travel the world, and I'm going to defend this country against its enemies, and I'm going to defend our Constitution, which is the living will of the people, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to do that. And at the same time, I'm going to see if I can not have to pull a trigger on somebody, or not have to throw a grenade into a house, not knowing who's on the other side, you know what I'm saying? So that was what I decided to do when I joined the military, on faith, and that faith saw me through. So, and then same thing. A lot of what drew me to the concepts in the Tao Te Ching, it seemed like it was written for an older person. And I was very young. I was younger when I was reading this book, and I used to have copies of it, and I would reread the Tao Te Ching every couple of years, a couple books, but the Tao Te Ching I would definitely reread every couple of years. Or if I, if a couple of years had gone by and I was in a thrift store and there was a copy of it for $3.25, of course, why not buy it? It's that, or a Star Trek T-shirt, or a Star Wars T-shirt, you know what I'm saying? So that was faith, and that's what got me through. So does there need to be an answer? Reality only has to make enough sense for you to keep going. I mean, that's one thing. That's why some people's stories are so amazing. It's because the reality was completely, turned into something else. One day they were this, next thing this was the reality, And, but in my mind, the way it seems to be, is we only need enough reality to keep going. You know what I'm saying? But that's why you try to push towards certain goals. You try to maintain certain desires in your heart. Like I said, I know that to desire is to suffer, but there are things I choose to suffer for in this lifetime, because this is a life of suffering. You know what I'm saying? You choose what you suffer for. So I choose to suffer for these certain things, and I hold out for these certain things, and I say yes to certain things, and I say no to certain things, all in the attempt to somehow end up where I want to end up. Because it was in the breeze the whole time. Yes, no, turn left, turn right. You know what I'm saying? And so how can I say no to any of that? So how much faith does it take? As much as a mustard seed. But a mustard seed is a pretty powerful thing.